Okay, got the Porsche Avatar 1225 SD. So this machine, this is the heart and soul of the whole unit. The row unit here, number 1, no grease nipples. Number 2, no grease nipples. Number 3, no grease nipples. So rubber torsion system here through an arm. That angle is 6 degrees. You have a 2-degree undercut. The downforce is 350 kilos per disc, and you get your downforce via that cylinder here through that rock shaft, adjustable from the cab through the ISO system. Seed boot down here, your seed boot adjustment. When your disc wears, what you've got the ability to do is to move from that hole to that hole, from that hole to that hole, and that hole up. So when your disc wears, you can actually move your seed boot up. We like to see about a 10mm gap between the bottom of the seed boot here to the bottom of the disc. That gives us a little bit of tilt under the seed. We find if we do it when we first start the machine up, it gives farmers a bit more life before they have to go and do the job themselves. Depth adjustment with the machine is very simple. It's through that quadrant there. Normally we'll have canola in number 1 setting, probably around about there. That'll give you maybe 10 to 12 millimeters, and then small seeds, and then we move it up to this one here for wheat. And if you've got any other seeds that you need to get a bit deeper, it's just simply a matter of moving that T-bar handle up and down through the through its quadrant. So here you got this quadrant, pull that, setting number 1 for small seeds or canola, shallow settings. Number 3 is another good one that we tend to find it works well for some cereals and other seeds. And then further you go up that way, the deeper this goes. So this comes up and it increases your seeding depth. Another neat feature on this machine is the in-furrow press well. So that in-furrow press well there is, once the seed comes out of the seed boot here, that's bang, it's straight, it's caught the seed. So that's caught the seed. As soon as it comes out, this has caught the seed, and you can actually, when it if it gets really wet, you've got the ability to pin this up. So you can pin this, turn that there, you can pin this up into the up position. If I can learn how to do it right, there you go. So that's pinned up in the up position, and so when it gets really wet, you can just pin it up out of the road so it doesn't pick seeds up and things like that. The other thing, if it gets really, really wet, you can take these off completely by undoing this bolt here. You take the whole arm and press well assembly out, and you do have another thing that comes with the machine. It's called a Keaton seed firmer. So it's just a seed firmer that bolts on down here, and it drags along. It's a plastic strip that drags along, and it's not rotating, so you're not getting mud, everything going everywhere. Once the seed's out and pressed, this is your closing wheel here. You can get these in like a steel closing wheel like this one, or you can get them with a star notched profile. They're becoming more and more popular at the moment too. Very important thing, adjustments here for your closing wheel. There's a raised piece there, and you've got 1, 2, 3 marks there. We generally run them at number 2, and that gives you a really good closing of your slot. Sometimes you can hardly see where the machine's been. That's our preferred, in most conditions, is run it on number 2. And you just undo that bolt, twist this around till you get to the line lined up with number 2, tighten that 24mm back up again, and away you go. It's not a number, it's 1, 2, so it's lining up with this ridge and those 3, 1, 2, 3 notches. So very simple. And then your adjustment, so your down pressure adjustment is done via this spring. So that's on its lowest setting, middle setting, or a high pressure setting. The wetter it gets, back off your pressure and back off the pressure here, and away you go. But this bar, once again, It's 12 meters. You can get these SD range in 12 and 18 meters, various configurations, 25 centimeters. I think this one's at a 50 centimeter machine, but very simple machine to operate. And you can actually see the steel quality here. I don't know if you can see that, but just look at that thickness of that rock shaft steel. It's the real deal. With this rubber torsion system, it'll allow you to lift the machine up and down this way. The row unit can move up and down this way. But you see these bearings here either side. What this does, it allows it to rotate up this way, but it won't allow the row unit to lose its 6-degree angle. So it's very, very important that you don't lose that 6-degree angle, and they do that with these bearings in here, but it can still move up and down via its rubber torsion system that way. Once again, it's all ISO. From the cab, you can plug it into your own GPS system. Up it comes, it'll self-populate up onto that screen, and away you go. These heads, actually, you might ask, what's this funny little lay flat hose? Well, that's what it does. So when this machine folds up, this head here actually folds over, and then the machine lifts up all the way up here. And that's another big feature with this machine. When you're working on the row unit, you actually, from the tractor cab, you can lift this row unit up to here, so you can have it at chest height. You can do all your adjustments, any maintenance or whatever. Not that there's any maintenance on here, but you can check the machine out, give it a good, you're not crawling around on the ground, you're working at chest height, which is a big feature. Colour-coded clips, once again, in conjunction with the big cylinders underneath the machine that actually lift this machine up, and then it folds forward like a set of fire harrows. That measurement from the ground up's got to be 46 centimeters from the ground up to there, and you adjust that via these clips here. And it's really important when you've got it set up on your tractor, that's got to be parallel to the ground. So that needs to be, yeah, dead level. You can see the size of the hydraulic cylinders there. They're huge. And the same with the cylinders underneath there to actually lift the machine, to fold the machine. So they're your folding cylinders as well. So you can see that's, they're a big cylinder. You can see I've not huge hands, but that is a big cylinder. And so that pushes out and folds the machine up this way. And then these other cylinders here fold the machine around, and they come down and sit into these hooks. 3-meter transport. These axles here are telescopic. That will tell it up in the cab. Okay, I'm going forward. You drive forward, and those wheel assemblies hydraulically move out. This head system, you can get, we supply mostly all blockage sensors on every run. So all run blockage sensors, there's the Dickie John system. You can see how neat and tidy this whole hose arrangement is, from the cables all the way down to the outside. Nothing sort of runs uphill. Everything's sort of running downhill from the seed sensor all the way down to the seed boot. Very, very simple and very neat system. It all folds up neatly, and you don't have a lot of trouble with kinked hoses and blocked hoses. One of the best features of this machine is the metering system. Like Porsche generally have a fan, and what they do, they meter the seed or the fertilizer once, and they split it once at the head. The coefficient of variation across the board with most Porsche machines is less than 5% coefficient of variation. So it's exceptionally accurate, and it's due to this really good system in here. This is your metering unit. It's electric drive, 12-volt brushless motor. You can do a calibration with this machine. You just have your tractor turned on with your screen on. You don't have to have the tractor running. It's all electric. You put bags under here, and you just do the calibration and tell it how many kilos you want to put out. Put your bag under there, flick your calibration switch, which is this one up here. Flick that on and off, and this will rotate, puts out a certain amount of product. You wait, put it into the screen, and away you go. It's a very simple machine to calibrate and operate. Quite a few different metering units with the machine. Usually come with about 11 different metering units for canola, wheat, all your cereals, small seeds, large rates of fertiliser. This machine I think will do down to about 0.5 of a kilo per hectare of canola, up to in excess of like 600 kilos per hectare of wheat, of fertiliser, sorry. So the range in the metering system is pretty good and very simple to operate. Good bin capacity. That tells you your fan pressure, this gauge here. This other gauge here is telling you what your down pressure is of your row units.